It's a key bridge in the city of Kherson, which you can spot along the bottom of your screen on this map. Kherson sits along a river just north of Crimea, which Russia annexed in 2014. CNN's Nick Payton-Walsh was able to get a remarkable first-hand look at the aftermath of that fighting. We want to warn you ahead of time, some of the images that you're about to see are graphic and you might find them disturbing.
For a moment, this was a bridge too far for Vladimir Putin. As we arrived in the town of Kherson just before dusk on Thursday, the fighting had crossed over to our side of the river, meaning Russian tanks were in these sleepy streets. But the night brought no rest. Jets flying low, terrifying locals. Airstrikes. Here, a mother's bedtime duty is to switch out the lights. Not to calm her kids, but to protect them from the Kremlin's jets overhead. The boys are noisy, but the girls quiet. It's safer here than on the street, says Lena. Ruslan jumps in. They'll kill us all, he says. Moscow's games scar here. I did hear blasts, but I was not afraid. I had a tank, he says. But by dawn, it was a case of the Russians are coming, but also maybe not. Ukrainian forces had reclaimed the bridge, but not without a cost. I asked Victor if the Russians would move back.
Yes, Russians, no far away. Russians, about 3,000 meters. 3 kilometers.
Locals picked through the wreckage for ammunition. It's strange to see civilians picking up leftover armour from vehicles here. It shows you how many people are involved now on a local level in this war effort. If he's doing it again, they're stopping everywhere to pick up whatever they can. It's unclear if the bodies here were discarded because they were Russians or because there were just too many. The Ukrainian military you can see here is the bit that was pushed back. The defenders, still holding this bridge, stayed hidden, waving our cameras away from their positions. On the bridge, the living surreally passing the dead. Okay, Adacha. Just saying the Russians are on the other side of the bridge, but you can't see them, but they aren't disturbing civilians. Anyone who wants to run Ukraine needs this tortured piece of concrete. This is the Dnieper River, which basically cuts Ukraine into the side here, which connects to Russia, and this side, which connects to Europe. A vital piece of Ukraine to fight over, and it's been obviously very intense here in the past days. There are no winners here, just holes that will need filling in, and shreds of lives that need collecting. Vladimir is here, helping himself to a hot dog. The other Vladimir, Putin, wants to steal lives here whole for his wider vision of empire restored. For the people in this town, it means afternoons with the noise of rockets landing in the streets. That dusk, the balance of power changed again. Shells landed around Ukrainian positions, and it seemed near houses. Ambulances unable to get in. Then came this noise, the sound of an attack helicopter. Acute violence that seems to have led the bridge to change hands again. Minutes later, local officials said the city's defences had fallen. But victories here were laden with loss and so bitter in the mouth. It does appear that the city's defences are now in Russian hands, that what we saw at the end of that report was essentially the Russian push through those Ukrainian holdouts here, a city really on edge at the moment. Jake?
And Nick, you mentioned there are still civilians in that town, Kherson. Are people trying to leave?
Not on a large scale, as terms of we can see. They just don't know what comes next. I mean, as we were standing here, Jake, a moment ago, the owner of the hotel we were standing in said that she'd seen a masked man with a rifle walking around in the street here. We haven't seen that ourselves, but this is a city really on edge because they know the Russian army is on the outskirts of the town, that the Ukrainian army, as far as they know, have been pushed back, and they are essentially trying to work out whether or not the Russian forces care about coming into here, care about taking control of this pretty sleepy town on a river. And so while it's deathly silent in the middle of the night here, we've seen sort of a random guy in a flashlight in a courtyard over there moving around. That's just us observing the circumstances. Everyone's really on edge here as to what the next move is. Jake?
All right, Nick Peyton Walsh reporting live from Kherson, Ukraine. Thank you. Stay safe. Joining us live to discuss